pull list video. So I haven't done one of these in a while, mostly just because I, well, haven't really felt motivated to talk about this kind of stuff, as I've been going through a lot of personal issues and stuff. So, but I really want to start making more comic book videos again, because I really do love talking about comic books, and it's basically what I started doing the channel anyway. All those years ago. I know we're still doing card game content, but we're trying to like combine it now. Obviously, with the legendary stuff, is really good at combining the comic book and the card game sort of thing. But the main reason I'm doing this video today is I actually read a book today that I really, really, really enjoyed, and I wanted to talk about, even for just a little bit. So we're gonna go through the pools today, and we're gonna end off with that particular book, and we'll talk about it. So first book that we got, starting off with DC, is Nightwing 55. Now, I have done a video up on the channel with my thoughts on the run so far. It was Nightwing's issues 50 through to 53 by the time I did that video, because 54 and 55 were not out yet. So if you want more thoughts in more detail, my thoughts on that run and how it's gonna play out, you can go check that video out. But yeah, I think I'm really starting to get a whole fatigued over the Rick Grayson thing. I'm a bit over it. I mean, Nightwing and Dick Grayson being my favorite character in comics. If you've watched the channel, you would know that already. But I'm a little bit frustrated. I do really like the concept of like 4 or 5 different characters taking on different iterations of Nightwing as a way to kind of honor the legacy of Nightwing. I think that's really cool, but the problem is they're saying that this is Nightwing's book, and you're still having Dick Grayson, like full on in the center of what's going on, and he just feels so alienated from what's going on. I know that's kind of the point, but it just takes away so much of what the Nightwing book was. It's almost like this is a complete another relaunch of the title. Why wouldn't you go back to a number one? I mean, you've relaunched, DC has, well, not just DC, Marvel's done it as well. They've relaunched books and gone back to number ones, for even less reasons. Now, I know they did a similar thing with Batgirl 25 back in the New 52, but they marketed that as a complete another relaunch. This was not marketed as a relaunch. This was marketed as going forth as normal. So I know a lot of people aren't very happy with what's going on in this book, and yeah, I'm starting to get there. I mean, I don't know how long this arc will actually last. As far as I can tell, these guys are staying around this for a while, and it doesn't look like the Rick Grayson thing is going to end very, very soon, which is a huge disappointment to many Nightwing fans out there. But I kind of feel like they were planning this for a while, and there was that talk of that Nightwing movie, and they were probably going to do like what Marvel did with their Spider-Man stuff, was do Superior Spider-Man until the new Spider-Man movie came out, and then relaunch Spider-Man. And that's what think they might have been trying to, well, I don't know if I'm thinking too into this, but I think that's what they might have been trying to do with this book. But hopefully by the end of next year, we'll have Dick Grayson back. I don't know if we will, but yeah, it all depends on how long this run's going to last, and that could be any day. I mean, people have worked on this book and only done one story, so it's hard to tell how long it's going to go, and I feel like we're in the middle of this story arc now. So yeah. Next up is Titans. Now, when I started, this is another book I definitely want to do a video on, particularly the earlier issues of it, and I will definitely be getting to that very, very soon. Probably if I get some time next week, or it'll probably be early in January, talking about the very start of the Titans book and how I feel that's gone from where it was to where it is now. Because it was one of my, whilst I was getting it, and I've talked about this in other pull lists, I wasn't reading it, and I actually sat down, I think about a month ago, and smashed out the whole thing, and absolutely enjoyed every moment of it until Dick, Wally, and Roy completely disappeared from the book. And obviously Dick disappearing is due to what happened to him in his own book, or in Batman, and then Wally and Roy after what happens in Heroes in Crisis. And now it's like, I don't know, the team just feels so awkward. And I know the new team was relaunched after the event. I think it was of No Justice, I think the event was. But yeah, I'm not really happy about where this book is going. I much preferred the earlier stories where it really had that, reminiscent uniqueness of the old school 80s team, and that's what the original Titans book was when they launched it back. Oh my god, how long ago was that? It was in the 2000s, right? Where it was the original New Teen Titans all grown up in their more older identities coming back together. And I really liked that concept back when I was reading the trades for that. And the book started off a lot like that, but obviously it's become completely different. You've got Beast Boy on the team now, who hasn't been on the older Titans team for a very long time. It's particularly a Raven as well. They were on the Teen Titans team and they weren't on the Titans team, and that was really awkward, especially because Starfire, I think, hasn't been on this team at all. You've also got Steel and Miss Martian, so they've definitely changed the dynamic of the team quite a lot, which I mean you have to do to keep the book fresh. But you've pretty much alienated two of the characters that I was definitely reading the book for, which were Dick and Wally. So, and I know that's not the Titans writers' fault. That's because they're a team up book. They're scrutinized, or they have to fall in line with what's happening with the rest of the universe. And I know the Nightwing book had to do that as well, but it doesn't make me really happy as a reader. Moving on to Marvel, we have the third issue of the new Spider-Gwen series, so Go Spider-Gwen, Go Spider. I did a really stupid thing about a year ago, needed some money, sold all my Spider-Gwen books. Apart from her first appearance, that was just things you have to do, and I really regret that now, because Into the Spider-Verse was fucking awesome. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely, if you're watching this video, you probably are planning to go see it. If you're not, you need to go see it. It definitely reignited my interest and love for the Spider-Gwen character, how brilliant of an idea it was. So yeah, I haven't had the chance to jump into the Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider stories yet, but I'm definitely excited to jump into these very, very soon. Next up was a new Star Wars book. Now, I remember they were talking about, don't really keep up with Star Wars comics too often, just because there's so much stuff out there for Star Wars. They were talking about this Age of Republic stuff, I think I heard mentioned. I was at I think it was in the comic book, one of my comic book subject lectures at uni. We had Tom Taylor do a guest lecture, and he was talking about something about some Star Wars project he was working on. I think he was. I can't remember. That was a while back. I remember hearing about this. I think he said it from something. Or anyway, yeah, and I didn't know much about it. And then I walk into the shop today, and there's a Darth Maul book. And yeah, I buy pretty much any Darth Maul comic because they're never an ongoing. They're always like a mini series, and this is a one shot. And I've noticed that they're also doing a one shot for Mace Windu, and there was one other character. And Obi-Wan. So Obi-Wan and Mace Windu also are getting one shots, as well as Jango Fett and Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon's was already out, so I think that was pretty cool. So there are obviously a bunch of one shots. And there's a nice ad for the X-Wing game, which is something I've taught but in the past. This is actually a lot of fun. I could do a video on this, but I don't actually own any of the miniatures. My friends do, so I could probably borrow some and talk about this game. If you guys are interested in that, please let me know in the comments below. But definitely, I recommend you guys check out this game as well. Getting a bit sidetracked. So moving on to Dark Horse now, we have the second issue of the Alien 3 unproduced screenplay. So this is another book that pretty much came out of nowhere. I mean, again, now I'm buying pretty much every Alien and Predator book that comes out because the older ones became very, very difficult to find. I don't own them all. I gave up trying to find them. I made the decision to go for all the Venoms, which obviously was a much better investment choice now. A couple of years back, rather than all the AVPs, because they're just so hard to find. So I get everything new that comes out, and this is really cool because if you don't know anything about this particular book, it's an adaptation of one of the screenplays, one of the final drafted screenplays for Alien 3 before they went with the Fury stuff. This was a story they had where Newt and Hicks and Bishop were all still very much important characters to the lore of the Alien movies, and it's basically an adaptation of that. It's pretty interesting to see the kind of direction that the franchise could have gone, particularly considering that Alien 5, Neil Blomkamp's Alien 5, before it was cancelled, was going to feature Hicks as in one of the key roles. Ergo, basically working Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection out of the continuity of the Alien movies. Obviously, Alien 5 got cancelled after Fox went to move on with the Ridley Scott prequels, and then, of course, Covenant wasn't very well received. I still really enjoyed Covenant. for what it was as a as a standalone Alien movie. It's a lot of fun. Standalone sci-fi horror movie. It's a lot of fun. If you look at it as part of the Alien franchise, it kind of screws a lot of stuff up in terms of continuity. But I mean, that's what happens when you're working with a property like this. So this is definitely a fun read. If you're a huge Alien fan, you'll definitely get a kick out of seeing, and you were of course angry about what happened with Alien 3. If you really liked Hicks like I did, and you'll definitely get a kick out of reading this book. And finally, the book I was talking about, start of the video, that I absolutely loved and actually made me want to make this video was Magic the Gathering Chandra. So I know there have been Magic the Gathering comics officially released in the past, but I had no idea this book was coming out. I randomly decided to look up the next lot of releases, and this was random. I randomly read like Magic the Gathering Chandra. So Chandra, a little bit of backstory. Chandra is one of my favorite characters from the Magic the Gathering lore. She's my favorite member of the Gatewatch, which are 5 very powerful planeswalkers that come together to basically stop Nicol Bolas. And I feel that Chandra is often one of the more underutilized and disrespected members of the Gatewatch in terms of by wizards themselves, from the lore department or card design department and the community. They don't really, their cards aren't super relevant as compared to stuff like Liliana and Jace, who have some ridiculously powerful cards centered around them. But Chandra is one of my favorite characters, and this book is a lot of fun. I haven't, it's really nice. This is basically a fantasy comic, right? And it's just, the colors are so vibrant. It's like, and you get to see her traveling to lots of different planes. Just, I don't know what it is about this book, but I guess it's because it was so different to everything I've read before. I think it's very similar feeling I had when I read my first Sonic comic, because I've been reading superhero comics for such a long time. To read something that's based on, and there's like, you're reading your first Alien Predator comic. I mean, you're reading something that's not a superhero comic. You're expanding your horizons, and I know I know there's a lot of great indie titles out there, and I just haven't found the right one for me yet. If you guys are watching my comic videos and you kind of see what my tastes are, if you can recommend any indie titles for me, I would love to be able to check some of those out for you, because I'm always looking for new recommendations, always looking for new stuff to read. And if I'm going to get a kick out of one of those indie titles, as much as I loved this book, I mean, this book wasn't long enough. Like, I was sad when this book ended, and that doesn't happen very often for me in comics anymore. It's very rare that I read a book and I'm like, I don't want this issue to end. I guess that's because I have such a connection with this character. I love this character. I really, really want IDW to do more Magic comics. I mean, I'm almost tempted to buy any book they put out about Chandra, or any book they put out about Nicol Bolas, any book they put out around Sarkhan. I mean, Sarkhan isn't really the most interesting character, but I think he's really cool, and he's one of the really popular planeswalkers because of how he's the dragon planeswalker, right? And dragons are freaking awesome, and he's the planeswalker who's associated with dragons, and that's pretty freaking cool. And of course, Chandra is fire. She's the heat. And what this book did really well is address the more calm side of her. I mean, from what I've seen in the lore and her cards before, and what people have told me who've read more into the lore of Magic than I have, is Chandra is basically a hothead, excuse the pun, and she doesn't think. And we get to see that throughout this book, that she's actually, she actually cares. She actually wants to help people, and she's made bonds. She helps this little girl, this little elf girl, on Dominaria, and the girl says she wants to be a hero, and Chandra says, oh no, I can't take you, I'm worried about your safety, and this is stuff that I never saw in the Chandra character before, and people had never described it to me. I know it's pretty generic stuff, but just getting to have a whole book focused around Chandra was just so awesome, especially because I really wanted to make a commander deck focused around Chandra. It was difficult. I still really want to finish it one day, but it doesn't work. But anyway, guys, definitely loved this book. It inspired me to make this little pickup video, pull this video for you guys. It's probably not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but it is it's every so often it is nice to read something completely different. And when you find something that you absolutely love, it's definitely worth watching. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you have, like I said before, if you have any indie titles you think I would love based on, my previous pull list and my tastes. Please feel free to let me know in the comments below. What did you guys pick up this week? Did you pick up Chandra? What did you think of the book? Are you excited? Do you think IDW is going to do any more magic themed comics in the future, more around specific planeswalkers? And do you think that the comics are a great way to help expand the lore? Because I definitely think they are. I mean, I found myself really wanting to read the Hour of Devastation stuff and was just bogged down by the amount of text. And comics can really be a great way to express lore of your franchise. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you for my next video.